the M62, the M60, the M61, the M6, the M55. All of these roads take you to a place called Blackpool. You can go to Blackpool to visit the seaside, to see the tower, or to fall victim of one of the many pickpocketers there. But me, I'm going to collect a car. And if you know anything about this channel, then you'll recognise that I am in the multicoloured abomination called Nigel. And I have no passenger. How am I going to get there and back with two cars? And why am I doing it in the first place? Well, Nigel's going on holiday. Yesterday, or the day before, or one of those, I took a deposit on my Volvo, which means that it's no longer mine. And now I'm off to see my friend and sponsor of the channel, Alan. Al's Detailing, located in Blackpool. He's going to look after my car for a bit, and I'm going to relieve him of a car that's surplus to his requirements. It's a car that I can't really get excited about, except for the fact that I'm getting another car, and I love any other car, but it's a vehicle that will give me an opportunity and an idea. Look at these guys. Alan did offer to trailer this car down for me, but he didn't know when he could do it. And I could do with it kind of pretty much straight away, and that's why I've come up by myself rather than enlisting the help of somebody like Allegro Man, or even Johnny Two Scoops, or possibly someone else. And we've had an awful lot of rain recently, and that's important to the next bit of this explanation, because today is dry. And this new car that I'm getting, and I say new, it's not new, but it's a lot newer than this, has MOT, does work, is legal, but the windscreen wipers don't work. So driving it back on any other day that doesn't promise to be dry isn't a good idea. And those opportunities are few and far between. Few and far between the opportunities of a dry day. One must take advantage and have a lovely away. The fields are full of horses who all like to say nay. Look upon this motor and wonder what I have to pay. Well, I'll tell you that afterwards. Hello! I've driven a Mercedes ML for a review, had a chat and a cup of tea with Alan, and now I'm driving back in his car, which is now my car. I've got the family crocodile. It appears to have nearly a quarter of a tank of fuel, which is diesel by the way, and it's driving along quite nicely. Brakes are really sharp. Although Alan can't guarantee how good the car is. I think he's just very, very particular, which is, fair enough. There's nothing wrong with being particular, but he's gone over all of the faults that it has and just explained to me what to look out for. The main fault on this car is actually the bodywork, the scratches. It's full of scratches everywhere, and the seat. Driver's seat is not in a particularly good condition, but I don't care, especially whilst I'm sat on it, because I certainly can't see it.
Some villages in the area.
There we go. Radio 4.
To leave before it.
Usually when I pick up a mystery car, I just leave it hanging. I don't say what it is. I let you guess what it is. But the trouble is with this one, all you've got to do is just look out the front, and there's a giveaway on the end of the bonnet. This is a fairly basic model. It's got pretend leather seats, but it does have 4 electric windows, climate control and aircon. But what it doesn't have is a trip computer. which is pretty unusual actually. Normally you rarely get, oh hang on, what's all this here? Oh, is that for the stereo? Yeah, I think so. It's got MOT until next April, but it has been sat around for a couple of months, which is always brings about the possibility of seized calipers and stuff like that, but it seems to be okay. The only issue so far, and I was warned about this, that it's lacking on power a little bit. It's a bit hesitant, and just then as I set off, there was a really big flat spot. I'm going to make sure I get home before I start driving it with any real excitement and enthusiasm. There's definitely a bit of a boost leak because I can hear it whooshing, not whistling, just whooshing like the air, the pressure that should be being built up isn't being built up. So that's something to look at. The thing I did think I had to look at was the windscreen wipers, but they appear to be working again now. So that's one problem fixed already. Good, eh? Ticked off the list.
To be honest,
Radio 4 down. It does have a trip computer. I've just found out. I've got some buttons on the steering wheel here and it's telling me I have 178 miles to go before I've got to put some fuel in it. Reset meter, yes. That's what I meant to do to start with. I always like to do that. Do you? You get a new car, you press the trip counter, you do the reset, although, you know, I've done it with about 10 or 15 miles already done. Just in case you fulfill this notion of keeping a car forever, you want to know exactly how many miles you've done in it. Pointless, stupid, and it never happens. Well, it's just nice to be back in a car with a working speedo. You can gauge a car's reliability by how big the hazard warning light switch is. But by all accounts, this is quite a desirable engine. It's the 2.2 litre turbo diesel with, when it's working correctly, 168 brake horsepower, which should be enough to make a car of this size quite sprightly. This isn't a rare car in the slightest bit. In fact, it's somewhat anonymous, and in some parts of the country used quite extensively for minicabs. And I actually felt a bit like a minicab driver on the way from Blackpool just then. Here it is. It's a Mercedes 220 diesel C220 CDI in minicab black, and also having that number plate with that little yellow bit at the bottom there makes it look even more minicab like. It's definitely a car that nobody is going to look at. It has bits of scuffed paint, it has a few dents here and there, there's a faded bit on the wing, a couple of scuffs on the alloys, a few marks where, oh no, that's polished, that. A few scratches, bit of bumper that's not quite fitting, crack in the lens there, a bit of a crack on the bumper, but I'd say it's probably not too far off average condition really, and that's because most people don't look after their cars. It's got a light in the boot, it's got a warning triangle, it's got a boot full of stuff. I put that in there. Does it look like a minicab? Yeah, does it? It's got rear seats with a bit of a split there, and it's got a proper carpet. Not too bad for a budget Mercedes. Where Mercedes really went cheap was in the pretend leather. Pretend leather doesn't wear like real leather. So although it looks like leather, it soon looks like leather and gaffer tape. So these seats aren't perfect. But then it does have 213,000 miles on the clock, so it's done a fair bit. Multifunction steering wheel, gear knob, confusion dial, and a stereo. It would benefit from an awful lot of tarting up. There's a few grotty bits here and there, but the headlining isn't saggy, and that's one thing. Alan referred to this car as a hedge car, which I didn't quite know what he meant at first. I thought it just like something in between, stopgap, etc. But no, he meant a car that you can just park in a hedge and not really worry about it. No one's going to bother with it, no one's going to steal it, no one's interested in it. You can park it in a supermarket and someone may dent it with the trolley and you wouldn't notice it, etc. There's the handbrake release, and it's a bit broken, but it still works. With the news of me selling the Volvo, getting to Alan, he contacted me and said, would you like a cheap car? So, yeah, quite possibly. I'll tell you how cheap in a moment. But he didn't really want to keep it particularly because he's not going to sell a car unless he fixes everything. So he wouldn't sell it as just a car. He'd have to do every panel. He'd have to spend £800 correcting all the paint, getting new seats and all of these other kind of things. By which point it wouldn't really been worthwhile doing. Oh, and dealing with that boost issue as well, which it definitely does have, because it doesn't pick up quite as quickly as it should do. And when I come off the motorway then, it did go with quite a chuff. I'm struggling to get any grip there. It still picks up okay. It's acceptable. It sounds like a drop link needs doing as well, but it's all minor things. Might just also say the temperature gauge seems ever so slightly erratic as well. Maybe they're all like that. I don't know. This is the first time I've driven one of these. I've had an old C-Class that was 15 years older than this, but it's not the same car. It's not the same car at all. What's the plan with it? Well, I don't know, because I might just fix that boost leak and just think, this is fabulous, and just really enjoy driving it and enjoy seeing drunken people go, oh, like that, when they realise it's not a minicab. I could keep it for a while, I could sell it. You don't really very often expect to see a car that's 18 years old that doesn't have any scratches on it, so it's probably about average. But what I really fancy doing is a trading up experience. Just simply use it for a bit, then bung it up for sale, where I don't want to sell it, but I want to swap it. I want to swap it for something slightly better. I've done it before, it was a great thing. You are at risk of completely nailing your hat on, but it's the chance you take. I would quite like to say a really big thank you to Alan, who's been continually offering help and support for my channel. And he is offering 25% off of his detailing services if you are a channel member. A member of this channel, that is. And if you're not a member, just consider it. And finally, the cost of this magnificent Mercedes. It was a gift. He gave it to me to do with whatever I like. Fabulous, eh? Bye-bye.